We stopped at chapter 18. We finished 18, 19. Just a little bit of 18 and 19. Then give me a sec. Let me. Tonight we want to discuss Israelites' rebellion. Israelites' rebellion. Rebellion. Israelites' rebellion. Rebellion on what? Rebellion on one, Yahweh's instruction. And that was the fathers. The fathers and also the sons. So we see that in Ezekiel chapter 20. Yahweh's instructions was not obeyed. On and on and on and on and on. And at times when they appeared to obey, all of a sudden you see them falling away. And he was saying, as he teach them, teach your children. As he teach them, teach your children. But the more he tells them that, the more they withdraw from him and even teach the children something else, as they were also doing something else. We see this happen on and on, right from chapter 1, chapter 2, up to chapter 17, chapter 18. The proverb was given out to Ezekiel to pass on to Israel concerning Israel's disenchantment against Yahweh. The fathers sinned, the children sinned. Now he said, every righteous man in the land that sin, he shall pay the price of his sin. If the father sin, the father will pay. The son sin, the son will pay. The grandson or grandsons or granddaughters sin, they will pay for their sins. So that becomes personal responsibility. Anybody that Yahweh guides or directs to his instruction that rejects it or rebels against it will pay the price by death. So the person will die for his sin. Everybody will be judged. The father will not die for the sake of the son or daughter die for the sins of the father or the great-great-grandfather. But there is a clause somewhere which we looked at in Exodus 20 verse 5. It also mentions something like, they said, Yahweh said he's going to visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and the fourth generation of them that hate him. And that came close to Ezekiel chapter 18. When now you talk about personal responsibility, anybody that sin, an individual person must be answerable to what he has done. If you sin, you pay for it. If you do righteous works, and follow the instruction of Yahweh, you will be blessed for it. Every sin goes with a curse, and the curse is death. So how would that be reconciled with what was said in Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 5, where Yahweh will visit generations up to the fourth? Now, the Bible is clear. Yahweh is clear from that statement. Said he will visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third generation, up to the fourth generation, that does what? That hates him. So hatred is the key. Hatred. Whereas in Ezekiel chapter 18, Yahweh states that each person will pay the price of his behavior. If he behaves righteously, he'll be blessed. If he behaves unrighteously, he'll be cursed, and he will die for it, because that person hates him. Hates him. So there is a separation there. Exodus 20 clearly says the curses will follow those who break the law. Once they break the law, that person that breaks the law, that individual will suffer it. So that is the difference. Hatred. And the hatred there is equal to being wicked against Yahweh. Is equal to being rebellious against his instructions. Is equal to disobedience to commandments of Yahweh. So that is the hatred. Anybody who does not live in accordance to the law or Torah or the way of Yahweh, covenant way of Yahweh, is said to be a hater of Yahweh. That person hates Yahweh. So that is chapter 18 there. Chapter 19 talks about the three kings of Israel. Now, they made promise, or they ought to make a promise, or live in the promise of Yahweh. What is the promise of Yahweh? Or the covenant that Yahweh made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That covenant was broken. In that covenant, there was a promise. We will keep the covenant. But these people didn't keep the covenant. Jehoahaz didn't keep it. Jehoiakim didn't keep it. Zedekiah didn't keep it. Rather, they were looking for a way to sideline or to run to a powerful king like Egyptian king Herod to make an alliance, so that if enemy come and attack them in a way, the power of Egypt will support them. But Yahweh says, every breaker of his law will pay the price. And before then, someone like Jehoiakim, Zedekiah, in one way or the other, made agreement, particularly to Nebuchadnezzar. Here they made agreement with Yahweh to obey his commandments, to follow Torah. They failed. Now they come to human being. The king of Babylon at that time was a noble and powerful king, just like the king of Israel, Egypt at that time. But the king of Egypt had become more or less a bit powerless. So all the power was resting with Babylon. It's like when Russia, Soviet Union, and America was competing with power. Before you knew it, the power of Russia, Soviet Union began to go down. Before you knew it, they broke out. I mean, they splitted into many groups, and many of the groups, went their way and become countries or nations of their own. So Russia, from the Soviet Union, Russia emerged as one country. So their power shrinked. That was what happened to Egypt. Egypt's power shrinked. So at the end, like we have it today, America becomes the world power. Unfortunately, America's power today is also going down. It's also going down. And China is pursuing, making a way to come in to take over. So at that time, Babylon was in power. And Babylon said, you've broken our treaty. You've broken the covenant we had. Therefore, you're going to pay the price. And they went after them. Zedekiah was the last of these three people. And he was the ruler of Judah. His headquarters or his head of country government was in Jerusalem. So he had to pay the price. And Yahweh swore that this man has broken his covenant. And also break the covenant of this Gentile leader, Nebuchadnezzar. He cannot continue to escape, continue to become, a rebel. Therefore, he has to pay the price. So from Jehoahaz and Jehoiakim to Zedekiah, all of them paid the price. So within their watch, Jerusalem fell in the hands of Nebuchadnezzar. They paid the price. When Yahweh speaks, he will bring it to pass. It doesn't matter the time. It doesn't matter the time. It may be delayed, but the result will come. Yahweh will make do what he pronounced. Tonight, we want to begin to look at Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel chapter 20 is crucial in the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 20 gives us very good history about Israel, about their relationship with Yahweh, about their behavior, their wishy-washy character, their attitude, their non-challenged behavior about their Maker. And the beginning of the story to the end of the story is a very sad story. And the book of Ezekiel we are talking about didn't just mention what happened then between Yahweh and Israel in Egypt, down to the wilderness, and down to the land of Canaan, where they ought to possess the land and own it as the land of Israel. The Yahweh stretched the story to these latter days. What will happen to the children? Because it's a matter that happened between Yahweh and the fathers at that time and their children. So as Yahweh was instructing the father, he was telling the father, instruct their children at the same time. In the covenant way. But they all relegated, they all degraded and went backward. They never paid attention to the instruction that he gave to them. So Yahweh swore that he will finish them in the wilderness. Many a times he raised his hand to destroy all of them, wipe them out. But he was thinking of one thing. What was that? What was that? Yahweh's name. Yahweh says, when I think about my name, I withdraw from wiping them out. For what the Gentiles, the nations that do not know him, but have heard about his fame, had heard about his power, what their own thinking will be about him, because Israel was chosen so that they will be prepared, educated to teach the Gentile world. So if Yahweh will go on to destroy the people he chose and he made boast of to be his own sons and daughters, then what will be, the tech of the Gentile world? What will be their position at the end of the day? How will they react to it? And how will they, even if angels will come down from heaven to teach them, how will they be gathered to Yahweh? They will be afraid, because his name will be ringing in their ears as one who is very wrathful. They will see him as one that is deadly, that can destroy anyone that comes around him. So they will be afraid of him. They will look at him as a threat. They will look at him as one who does not love. But in actual sense, Yahweh is love. The scriptures tell us that Yahweh is love. So Israel did so many things that would have caused Yahweh to destroy them in the wilderness. Let us quickly go into what is in Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel chapter 20 to me is divided into two. One, instruction that Yahweh gave to the fathers so that they will understand, they will know. And that instruction is his law. His law. So if they follow the law, they will live by it. They will have life by it. In fact, they will prolong their life by it. But if they rebel, they will die. That is the stipulation of the covenant. And they should teach their children the same thing. So the fathers failed, and Yahweh called the children and said, do not follow after the way of your father. He began also to direct the children so that when they, from Jordan, they entered into the land of Canaan, he began to teach them, he began to help them, but they rebelled. He sacked them. So that is the second aspect of what is in Ezekiel 20. Then the third aspect is Israel is going to, the same Israel, that is now the children, the sons and daughters, are going to get the trouble that they have never seen. As their fathers suffered and perished from wilderness to the land of Canaan, so will the children in these latter days perish in the land of hidden world, in the Gentile world. They will, majority of them will be destroyed. So it is clear, Ezekiel chapter 20 is expressly clear, telling us that there is second Exodus. And before the second Exodus will commence, Yahweh will come and take census of his people, and he will sift between the wheat and the chaff, the goat and the sheep. He will select the sheep, bring them out. They are not going to be many. He will take them through the wilderness. He will sift them again, and the remnant then will be given the permission, the passport to enter into the land of Israel. And they will inherit it forever. There they will have the joy of their life and the eternal life forever. So finally you have how Yahweh is going to do it. The punishment. Call it punishment. Punishment that made Yahweh to state what he had planned. So the punishment of then how he's going to cut up the entire Israel, particularly Judah, because Ezekiel was prophesying to the people of Judah. Remember, it was the elders that came to him trying to inquire about Yahweh. It was then Yahweh began to reveal what happened to the fathers and what will happen to them and what will be happening to their children, and later on how they are going to all be punished and the remnant be brought into the land. So let's quickly take a look at Ezekiel 20. This is a lamentation. Sorry. It came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, on the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Israel came to inquire of Yah and sat before me. So they came to Ezekiel. Where? In Babylon. By that time they were in Babylon. This first batch had gone to Babylon. Daniel was there. Ezekiel was there. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, they had all gone. Then Ezekiel at that time had mounted the office of prophet, and he was there then declaring to them what Yahweh was giving to him, what he was hearing from Yahweh. So the elders came. They were always coming to Ezekiel. They were always coming to Ezekiel. Chapter 8, we saw them, where Yahweh revealed their secrets, these elders. And every time they love coming to Yahweh. But the problem that Yahweh was having with them was that whereas they want to seek Yahweh to gain, to know about future, to know about themselves, to know how well it is with them, they were rebellious in what Yahweh was giving to them. The instruction of Yahweh, the covenant of Yahweh. If you want to get anything from Yahweh, keep his covenant, keep his word. If you want to get anything from him. But if one is rebellious, the person will pay the price. And the price is that the person's rebellion is going to bring him out. You see elders here, elders of Judah or Israel, they came to Ezekiel to inquire. What was the inquiry? Return. When shall we return to Jerusalem? When shall we go back? They have stayed barely 7 months. Is it 7 months or 7th year? Sorry, 7 years. That verse 1 says, it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month. So 7 years and 5 months, they had just stayed in Babylon. And they said, when will we go back to the land of Israel in Jerusalem to occupy our land? Oh, that was the time of assessment. They didn't know that they were bringing themselves to assessment. Yahweh would now assess them. Since the time you came into this land, though you left the land of Israel, Jerusalem, where the temple is, you left that land, and you are here now in this land. Since the time you came into this land, what have you been doing with my law, my commandment, my instruction? The fact that you left Israel to the land of Babylon, does he give you guarantee, authority, or a warrant to defile the law, to reject the covenant way? All the Israelites who left Israel, even up to today, does it mean that we should leave the covenant way? The fact that we're in exile, or we are scattered all over the world, or that the temple has fallen, does it give us the impetus to remove ourselves from the law, from the covenant way, No. Yahweh said the covenant way remains because it's there forever and ever until Yeshua comes back. Even when he comes, it will be the status or the constitution to which he's going to use to rule them. So Yahweh reminded them that you are not doing what I said you should do. So why are you bothering me? What do you want from me? Can't get anything from Yahweh when you are denying his way, his will. You can't. So let's listen to what Yahweh is going to tell Jeremiah to tell them. Then the word of Yahweh came to me saying, Son of man, Ezekiel, speak to the elders of Israel and say to them, Thus says Yahweh Shaddai, have you come in to inquire of me? As I live, says Yahweh of Israel, I will not be inquired of you. I will not be inquired of by you. Will you judge them, son of man? Will you judge them? Then make known to them the abominations of their fathers. Now, Yahweh says, Ezekiel, these people have come to inquire from you. Will you open your mouth and give them my message? Will you tell them? Will you reveal to them? Will you respond to them? Yahweh is talking about response. They have come. They need a response. Say no to them. Say no to them. Deny them access to hearing my word. They will no longer hear from me. I have spoken all they need to hear. I have stated it in Torah. I have stated it in my rules, in my decrees, in my commandments. I have stated it in my regulations. They're supposed to observe it. They're supposed to be living by it. Because if they live by it, if they do it, they will also live by it. They will flourish by it. Then make known to them the abominations of their fathers. So Yahweh instructed Ezekiel rather to do what? Make known. Make known abomination. Abominations of their fathers. Which fathers is he talking about here? He is reminding them of what the fathers did in Egypt. Egypt stroke wilderness. Egypt stroke wilderness is important here. The fathers that lived at that time, remind them of what they did. Now Ezekiel is going to open up. They're supposed to know. These fathers are supposed to know because it's history. They were told by their fathers. They knew it. Some of them, in one way or the other, had the details with them. But Ezekiel is going to recap everything to them. Say to them, Thus says Yahweh Shaddai, on the day when I choose Israel and raised my hand in an oath to the descendants of the house of Jacob and made myself known to them in the land of Egypt, I raised my hand in an oath to them, saying, I am Yahweh, your father. I am Yahweh, your father. He said, he called them and told them, I am Yahweh, your father. That is what Yahweh is for us all. Yahweh made that instruction. He gave that instruction to them and made it clear, made them to know, so that none of them will say, I didn't know, I don't know who he is, and I cannot follow his way. Fatherhood is important. And that is the beginning of the 10 Commandments. That is the beginning when Yahweh called Moses, go to my people in Egypt. I have heard their cry. They are under torment. They are under punishment. They are under, subjugation of the Egyptians. Let them go. Tell Pharaoh to let my people. Those are my children. Let them go. I'm their father. So Yahweh here is beginning to remind these elders what transpired. On that day, I raised my hand in an oath to them to bring them out of the land of Egypt into a land that I had searched out for them, flowing with milk and honey, the glory of all lands. So Yahweh says he swore to bring them out. Out of Egypt. To where? To Israel, the land that flows with milk and honey. Land of milk and honey. He swore to them, I'm going to bring you out. Don't worry, I'll see your trouble. I'm going to bring you out into a land that flows with milk and honey. The glory of all lands. Glory of all lands. Don't miss that. Glory of all lands. That means the land of Israel is the land that is absolutely better and greater than any other land in the world. Of all the lands of the world, that is the best of all lands. Then I said to them, each of you throw away the abominations which are before his eyes, and do not defile yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am Yahweh your Shaddai. Did you hear that? So another instruction he gave to them even before they left is, do away with your idols, images, because they were carrying them as they were trying to leave Egypt. They were carrying them. As Rachel carried her the father's idol when she was about to leave Laban. She took all the idols. Unfortunately, it was spotted on the way when they were going, unknown to Jacob, unknown to Israel. It was found out where she hid it behind the back of the camel. But they rebelled against me and would not obey me. What happened? They rebelled, disobeyed. They disobeyed Yahweh. They didn't pay attention. They rebelled. They didn't obey him. They did not all cast away the abominations which were before their eyes, nor did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury on them and fulfill my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. Did you see that? Did you see that? That while they were leaving Egypt, he was preached. No wonder they stayed almost 30 years on top of the 400 years. Because within that 30 years, I believe Moses was instructing them. Moses was teaching them. Moses was telling them what they should not be doing. They should face reality. You are now serving your Father that chose you, that created you, that called you. It's different from whatever you preferred in Egypt. Abandon everything in Egypt. Abandon their idol, abandon their gods, abandon their images, abandon all that is flourishing in Egypt. Egypt is a killer. Don't take Egypt away. Don't take anything that is unholy, anything that is that can defile you. Don't take it away from Egypt. Drop everything. But he said, not all of them heed to that instruction. Some of them. No wonder they made that calf in the wilderness, because the appetite of serving idols of Egypt was still, evolving and moving in their mind, in their head, in their hearts. They still love the idols of Egypt. That was the reason. That was why Satan caught up with them quickly, because some of them were still hiding those idols. Head of goat, dog, animal, wood, stone, which they were bowing to, they were still carrying them. Even when they were full, Moses was going with them, they were still holding them. But Yahweh saw it, Yahweh knew it. But I acted for my name's sake. So this is why Yahweh did not destroy them initially. In the first instance, Yahweh did not destroy them. Yahweh says, but I acted for my name's sake, that it should not be profaned before the Gentiles, among whom they were, in whose sight I had made myself known to them, to bring them out of the land of Egypt. So because of his name, he did not destroy them. He did not destroy them. Yahweh was always careful because of his name. What will the Gentiles say? And Moses, at a time when he was praying to Yahweh, used it, reminding Yahweh, what about your name? What will Egypt say? What will the other Gentile nations say? If you will destroy these people, how will they look at you? The people whom you choose, whom you call their own, they see you as the lover of Israel, the father of Israel, the creator of Israel, the maker of Israel, the Yahweh of Israel. They know you as Yahweh. That your name is reverberating all over the world. So if you destroy them, what will those Gentile world say? How will they look at you? They will even be scared to hear your name or do anything with you. But I acted for my name's sake, that it should not be profaned before the Gentiles, among whom they were, in whose sight I had made myself known to them, to bring them out of the land of Egypt. Verse 10. Therefore, I made them go out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness. Now, mark that place. Mark that place, because Yahweh is going to repeat this particular verse 10. He is going to repeat it when he will be telling us that the children in this latter day, scattered all over the world, he will take them to the wilderness. See, here he mentioned wilderness. There is no other time Yahweh dealt with Israel through the wilderness other than this particular portion. And another moment and time he's going to deal with Israel is in this latter day. So we are now seeing 2 times Yahweh dealt with Israel in the wilderness. The first time was the first Exodus. The second time will be the second Exodus. The second Exodus is yet to happen, and everything, every signs of it is rearing in our eyes, is coming clearer of Israel getting ready to be moved. But there will be trouble before it starts, before the Exodus. So Israelites is entering into the trouble, and Yahweh is opening the trouble, so that when the wrath of Yahweh, the great tribulation will start, those who will perish in it will perish in it. The judgment will flow along. Everything will be happening simultaneously. The time of Yahweh will be coming to restore or rescue Israel will be the time they will be judged. In fact, they can't be moved when the judgment hasn't happened. He will allow the judgment to be unleashed upon them. Then it's like sifting the chaff from the wheat, goat from the sheep. So that is the judgment. And a lot of things will be happening. A lot of destruction will be happening, particularly against those who has rebelled. We are going to hear him, how he's he has said this and critically pointed out how he's going to do it to deal with those who are rebellious, who are not listening. Even if they are listening, they are not using it to do anything. Because even in Egypt, he told them, do not do anything with idols of Egypt. Drop every idols in Egypt and wash your hands and follow me. They said no. Today's idol is plenty, scattered wood and stone. You will hear when he will mention it. Wood and stone, which they are bowing today. Whether in Judaism or Islam or Christianity, the wood and stone thing is there. Silver and gold is still following them. Fame, name, and jolly of the world is still following them. They are not letting go. Israel of today are not letting go. Verse 11. And I gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments, which if a man does, he shall live by them. So what did he give to them? So that he gave them a direction. Status and judgments. Judgments of Yahweh. That is what he gave them. That if they do it, they will live. Do it, and you live. That is the key. Statutes and judgment, keep it. The law. The law. Yeah, he's talking about the law. Do my law. Keep my law. You will live. Moreover, I also gave them my Sabbaths. Another thing he asked them to do is hold on to Sabbaths. This is very, very crucial. Now we have resolved up to this point that Yahweh gave to Israel one, his name. Two is what? Can somebody help us? He gave them his name and two
commandments.
His law. Thank you. And in his law, he also stated that he gave them his Sabbath. Because even the law, the Sabbath is in the law. Sabbath is here. But why did he specifically point out Sabbath? Why? Why did Yahweh? Because he gave them his name, his law, and the Sabbath. And Sabbath is inside the law. Why did he open up with the Sabbath here? Why? If you look at verses 12 and 20, you find out why Sabbath was identified. So in the law, in the Ten Commandments, if you do anything with his name and the Sabbath in a way of rebellion, in a way of disobedience, the person is going to get it, because that is the heart of the law. That is the heart of the law. But these two, the name and the Sabbath, is the heart of the law. Now, let's proceed. Verse 12. Moreover, I also gave them my Sabbaths to be a, have you seen it? To be a sign between them and me. Sign. We can now see the reason he gave them Sabbaths. Sign. Sabbath is sign between Yahweh and Israel. Between Yahweh and Israel. And if you go to Exodus 31, 13 to 17, you find out that the same thing was repeated there as this sign. And moving forward, you see it in verses 12 and 20. Now, what is the reason? He stated it particularly in Exodus 31 and 20. One, Yahweh is creator. Going back to Genesis, Genesis chapter 2, 2 to 3. Yahweh is creator. That is why Sabbath is important, because on the seventh day he stopped work. That shows creation. And who is the creator? Yahweh. Yahweh is creator. 2, Israel is mine. Israel is Yahweh's people. You belong to Yahweh if you keep Sabbath. All those that keep Sabbath, the sign is worshiping Yahweh on this particular seventh day. If you are the keeper of Sabbath and you worship Yahweh on the Sabbath day, on the seventh day, that signifies that you belong to Yahweh. Now, 3, the sign. Somebody Sunday will want to rise and say that he is the creator. Somebody Sunday will come up and say that he is the maker of man, human being. He is the owner. And he made everything. Now you will now stand up and tell the person what Yahweh is saying in verse 12 here. That they might know that I am Yahweh who sanctifies them. You are holy, separated people. You are set apart. Oh, these are the same word. The same word. You are set apart. You are beloved. That is number 4. Sons and daughters of Yah. So Sabbath is immense. And Sabbath now becomes what? Sign, seal, and sign, seal, and there's another word there that was used. If you don't use sign, it is a seal. Now, it is sign, seal of, or you call it test commandment. If you like, 6 here, test commandment. This is only privileged to those who he called and who he, because in the wilderness he told Moses, I'm going to test them with what? Sabbath. And he's been testing them. And if you look at Revelation chapter 14, the test is Sabbath. Revelation chapter 14, the test is Sabbath. This thing is finished. Oh, it's only one that is left. Okay. This verse 12 captured the heart of what Yahweh is talking about. Verses 10, 11, and 12 gave us exactly what Yahweh wanted Israel to be for him. To know him, know his name, keep his law, and serve him on the Sabbath day. Worship. All that he's saying is worship. We are already in the day and time of worship, and that is Sabbath. You worship him every day, but Sabbath becomes not just Sabbath, because when he was talking about Sabbath, he put S, and that includes feasts. By 6th evening of this month, we begin the Feast of Trumpets. 6th evening, we begin the Feast of Trumpets. Now he's talking about obedience. He's talking about following. If by 6th of this month, you do not queue into the Feast of Trumpet, you are part of rebellious child, son, daughter. That's what Yahweh is saying. Whatever he says we should do is for our own good and our own benefit. Because in each whether Sabbath, whether it is feast, each one, there is something Yahweh is doing in them. And as you are celebrating them in this earth, they are also kept in heaven. Remember, he said to Moses, everything I will show you, do it in accordance to the pattern to which it was given you. Everything is patterned against, because Yahweh is replicating heaven on earth. So if you fail to obey what he is doing in heaven, to do it on earth, you are in trouble. How was the prayer of Yeshua to his disciples, to us today? He said, when he started, he said, we should ask the Father, to bring the kingdom. The kingdom is from heaven to this earth as it is in heaven. Let it be also in this earth. So that is the prayer. It's part of the prayer. Verse 13. Yet the house of Israel rebelled against me. They did not keep his name. They did not keep the law. They did not keep the Sabbaths. They rebelled against him in the wilderness. They did not walk in my statutes. They despised my judgments, which if a man does, mark that, if a man does, he shall live by them. And they greatly defiled my Sabbaths. Greatly defiled. These were the fathers. He's talking about the fathers now, reminding those elders that came to Ezekiel what the fathers did in Egypt, down to wilderness. Now he will soon be touching the sons and daughters, the children. Then I said, I would pour out my fury on them in the wilderness to consume them. But I acted for my name's sake. He's repeating that again. That it should not be profaned before the Gentiles in whose sight I had brought them out. The Gentiles were watching. They were hearing the power and might of Yahweh. Because Gentile world were afraid of Egypt at that time. Egypt was a powerful nation. It was like Babylon that came later. It's very powerful. It was like America. America wasn't like even the power of Egypt. Because Egypt was so terrible. Powerful. They can do and undo. Somehow, the United States of today, which is also the Egypt or Babylon, still put them together. They are all the same thing. Somehow, some of the tiny proportion members there are carrying the Bible. So somehow they make certain laws. They say democracy and all those stuff they are into. But, well, they are the same. But Egypt was more or less a tyrannous and terrible nation at that time. Too powerful. Verse 14. But I acted for my name's sake, that it should not be profaned before the Gentiles in whose sight I had brought them out. So I also raised my hand in an oath to them in the wilderness that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, the glory of all lands. So Yahweh already swore an oath that he will, give them a land that flows with milk and honey. So Yahweh began to reconsider what he, the promise he made with them. And he said, these people will not be fit to enter into that land that flourish with milk and honey. They will just defile it. They will just destroy it. So Yahweh was considering to destroy all of them in the wilderness. Maybe to begin again. 16. Because they despised my judgments and did not walk in my statutes, but profaned my Sabbaths. Their heart went after their idols. Yahweh continued to recap and to recall how these people break his law, his Sabbath, his name, and the commandment he gave to them. 17. Nevertheless, my eyes spared them from destruction. I did not make an end of them in the wilderness. Junior, open to me Numbers 14, 32 to 33. Numbers 14. He said, nevertheless, my eye spared them from destruction. So he didn't wipe them out, but he did wipe some of them out from the surface of the earth, but not all of them. He didn't completely terminate them. Numbers 14, 32 to 33. Let's hear what happened there.
32 to 33. But as for you, your carcass, they shall fall in this wilderness, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years.
Did you hear that?
And bear your woe-doms until your carcass be wasted in the wilderness.
He promised them that they will perish in the wilderness. Why they got that Yahweh's curse? Curse is death. When curse like that is pronounced, is death. So they will wander in the wilderness for 40 years, and within that 40 years they will all perish. And we are told that only 2 escaped. Of all that left Egypt, from 20 years old, that left Egypt, none of them entered into the land of Israel, the land of fruit, milk and honey, except Joshua and Caleb. Go on.
34.
Okay, read that at 4.
After the number of the days in which ye searched the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall ye bear your iniquities, even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise.
Okay. When they breached his promise, the covenant, when they break it, he said, okay, because they were there to go and search the land of Ar, to find out how the land was. And it was like a test. Does it mean Yahweh doesn't know what the people or nations living from there going forward into the land of Canaan? He knew them. He knew what was on. But go and search them. Because they were continuously rebelling. Faith was lacking. Upon all the mighty works that Yahweh did, at least when somebody remember what Yahweh had done in the past, that ignites faith. No matter what, Yahweh that did it in the past will do it for me. Because he trust me, as I did it in the past, the same way I will handle your case. Even, if you have the faith, the required faith, Yahweh will do even extra. But they lacked faith. He said, you searched the land for 40 days. Each day shall be 1 year. So that 40 years shall be 40 days shall be 40 years. And as Yahweh pronounced it, that was how it happened. They remained in the wilderness, wandering within the wilderness, circling the wilderness for 40 years, until they all gone. They were destroyed, except 2. Verse 18. But I said to their children in the wilderness, do not walk in the statutes of your fathers. Here, Yahweh now turned, speaking to Ezekiel, to the elders. He now turned to the children and said, even their children, I instructed them. Remember, in each time we read Shema, we do mention, or Yahweh stated that we should teach our children as well. So that was exactly what he told the elders to do. Do not walk in the statutes of your fathers, nor observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. Don't do those things that their fathers did that brought judgment upon them. So he was reminding those elders that that was what Yahweh told their fathers in the wilderness. So these elders had become the children who would have received instruction from their father, but their father didn't give them that instruction. And that's why the children maintained the course of their father, the way of their father or their fathers. At the end of the day, they were driven into the land of Babylon, and they continued to be wayward. Up to that point, they were meeting Ezekiel. And they thought they were still flourishing or doing the will of the Father. But they have wandered away. You see, following Yahweh has foundation. If you miss the foundation, if you don't come to the foundation, like since we started, we have been building the foundation of following Yahweh via his Torah, via his commandments, his law. If you live there, you miss everything about following Yahshua. You miss it. You miss the New Testament teaching. You miss Yahweh's way, Yahweh's instruction. And there is no revelation from Yahweh that will enter into your ears. No revelation. Yahweh will stop teaching you. Yahweh will stop guiding. If you miss the foundation, if you miss, because within the foundation, he'll be reminding you, be instructing you, be guiding you, be letting you know what you should hold into your, grab with your fingertips and put in your heart, put in your mind. If you fail to do that, then you miss it. Every other thing that will follow will be trouble, will be problems. It will be difficult for the person to follow. So the person will become unteachable. These elders that came to Ezekiel, they had become unteachable. So they can't get anything again from Yahweh. That is the basic truth of the Bible we are reading. I am Yahweh, your Shaddai. Walk in my statutes, keep my judgments, and do them. He was telling the children, those were the elders that came to Ezekiel. They were supposed to be the children, but they didn't follow. Hallow my Sabbaths, and there will be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am Yahweh, your Father. You will know that I'm Yahweh, your Father. Follow my judgment, my instructions, my Sabbaths. That is the only way we will know. Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me. They did not walk in my statutes and were not careful to observe my judgments, which if a man does, he shall live by them. But they profaned my Sabbaths. Then I said I would pour out my fury on them and fulfill my anger against them in the wilderness. We also repeated what happened, to the fathers in the wilderness. Because these children, they began to do what their fathers did. Rebellion. Defiling his Sabbath. Rebelling against his name. Profaning his name. Calling another name. Replacing his name. 22. Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand and acted for my name's sake, that it should not be profaned in the sight of the Gentiles, in whose sight I had brought them out. Also, I raised my hand in an oath to those in the wilderness. Fathers in the wilderness, said he raised his hand against them, that I would scatter them among the Gentiles and despise them throughout the countries. So Yahweh began to think of alternative, what is going to do them. Since he cannot immediately sweep them away, he was thinking, from the wilderness, they have scattered them all over the world. They wouldn't have gotten into that land. Yahweh was being careful so that when they live in righteousness, in following the covenant way, when they enter into that land, they will flourish as the nation that he wanted them to be. Peculiar people, royal people, chosen people, holy people, righteous people. That is what he wanted them to be. So since they were not turning to what he wanted to be, what is the need putting them there? It's going to be calamity. It's going to be disaster. They're going to profane the land. They're going to defy the land. They're going to mess. In fact, his name now will be sold out to the Gentile world. And they will profane and blaspheme his name and mock his name. And that was what they did. So here Yahweh was thinking, did I scatter them from here so that they will not get in there? But in his mercy, still he said, okay, let me continue with them and put them into that land. But all the same, from that land they will be scattered. Verse 24. Because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes, profaned my Sabbaths, and their eyes were fixed on their fathers' idols. Their fathers had acquired Egyptian idols. They don't want to let go. Why is it that Yahweh is repeating this on and on and on and on and on? Do we hear? No. We can listen, but he doesn't penetrate. It doesn't sink into the heart. We doesn't apply it. We don't want to jettison idol or idols of the Gentiles, because the idols of Gentiles are so enticing. So many ways the Gentiles entice us with their idols. When you can watch TV from morning till night, watch their entertainment programs, those who are naked and those who are half naked, from morning till night, you are into idolatry and idols of the Gentile world. You enjoy their services, whether Sunday services or Muslim services or their feast and all those things. Though you may not be going or found in their midst, but you enjoy when they are doing it. Or you like their drink or their food, you are part of them. It is called idol of the heart. That's what the Bible calls it. Ezekiel also called it idol of the heart. So many ways to get. He says, separate yourself from anything that has to do with the Gentile idols, Gentile ways of life, because they follow idol ways of life. 25. Therefore, because they profane his statutes, they profane his Sabbaths, their eyes were fixed on their fathers' idols. Listen to 25. Therefore, I also gave them up to statutes that were not good, and the judgments by which they could not live. Did you hear that? Today we are in the Gentile world. Even when the Israelites entered into the land of Canaan, they were allowed to borrow from the Gentile, the Canaanites, the Amorites, the Jebusites, the Hittites, and all the way of their doctrine, the way of their rules and regulations, their statutes. They joined it. That's why they messed up the Bible we read today. And look at when they were scattered, even in the Gentile world today. Now, the rules have so much changed. This is exactly what was happening then. Read for me Romans chapter 24. Romans chapter 1, 24 to 32. Do you know that what is in 25 is what is happening today? It has happened before and is opened up now, like wide, and is swallowing a lot. Gay law, all manner of laws that have been put, coronavirus law, the climate change laws, so many laws, even massive, those that are coming out so much. Those are the things that he was warning his people. You are going to eat and drink and swallow their laws and all, and they are going to sweep you away. Brethren, if we don't want to know, think what is happening today. Yahweh is not in the know. So-called coronavirus, climate change law, and so many laws that are coming in. He's in the know. That's part of the game. He gave them up to all these wicked statutes of the Gentile world so that they will enjoy it. Even having the right to marry animals, man to marry man, woman to marry woman. You can lie as much as today. Lying has become the norm of the societies. Read for us Romans 1, 24 to 32.
Wherefore Yahweh also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts too.
Unclean, anything that is unclean now is the norm of the societies, nations of the world, all over. And it's getting worse. Yahweh said he allowed it. Yahweh allowed it. Gone.
To dishonor their own bodies between themselves. Who changed the truth of Yahweh into a lie.
They don't believe the covenant of Yahweh, the truth of Yahweh, the word of Yahweh. They prefer lies, and they swallow lies. Gone.
And worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause Yahweh gave them up unto vile afflictions, for even their women did change their natural use unto which is against
women
nature.
sleep. Women sleep women, men sleep men. Why? They said no to the law of Yahweh. So Yahweh said, okay, I leave you with Gentile laws. Enjoy it. And you swallow it. And the curse will follow you. Go on.
And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the women, born in their lust one towards another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was met. 28. And even as they did not like to retain Yahweh in their knowledge,
they refused Yahweh. They said no.
Yahweh gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient.
Yahweh gave them, because they rejected Yahweh, Yahweh gave them up to do those things that are not scriptural, not lawful, not holy, not in accordance to the covenant of Yahweh.
Being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debates, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of Yahweh, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Yahweh, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do they do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them.
Did you hear that? That is the time we are into. This is the time, and this is also was repeated in 2 Timothy chapter 3, 1-5. Apostle Paul repeated it. They are filled with all manner of unrighteousness, sexual immorality, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, evil-mindedness. They are whisperers, backbiters, haters of Yahweh, violent, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, undiscerning, untrustworthy, unloving, unforgiving, unmerciful, who, knowing the righteous judgment of Yahweh, that those who practice such things are deserving of death, not only do the same, but also approve of those who practice them. Some of them will say, we don't do it, but they clap hands to those who do it. They approve those who do it. They even watch those who do it. They even tie their heart to those who do it. They are all the same. They will perish for saying no to the law of Yahweh. And Yahweh gave them up to the reprobate mind, to be sunk in their wickedness and their evil. Verse 27. Alright, 26. And I pronounced them unclean because of their rituals gifts, in that they caused all their firstborn to pass through the fire, that I might make them desolate, and that they might know that I am Yahweh. Even their children, they were murdering their children. These are not that bitter wickedness, horrible things that we are doing. Killing of their children. Their children were murdered. They were giving their children to Moloch. there is this god or idol they call Molech or Molech. It is there in Egypt. It is there in the land of Canaan. It is there today in this world. Today it is family planning, something parenthood, family planning. The headquarters is in America. The headquarters of Babylon. Killing children, unborn children in the womb. Under the name of family planning. It is still going on. Because they are being sophisticated, technological in these later days. So, softly, Satan is crafty. Most of all those things, he has so subdued it in such a way that you will not discover that is the still old thing that is going on. Still old thing. They so long because of the Republican in America, the Republican party in America, they are fighting like Donald Trump. He hated them. This family planning, something parenthood. What is that? Can somebody remind me the name of that something parenthood? You know, they are in charge of family planning. And family planning, all this pill they give to ladies, women, and all that, you know, cut down number of your children, kill the rest ones, anyone you don't want, kill. Abortion, they are promoting abortion. Abort babies, you don't need them. Sleep with men or sleep with women as much as you can. You get pregnant, then abort it. It's a law. There is a law to it. Gentile law. Yahweh said, because they left his own law, then he gave them up to these Gentile laws to follow, and they are going to die for, committing all those abominable things before Yahweh. Going to die. 27. Therefore, son of man, speak to the house of Israel, those elders. Speak to them and say to them, thus says Yahweh Shaddai, in these two your fathers have blasphemed me by being unfaithful to me. In all these things, Yahweh had recalled. The fathers of old were very, very unfaithful because they left his way. 28. When I brought them into the land concerning which I had raised my hand in an oath to give them, and they saw all the high hills and all the thick trees, there they offered their sacrifices and provoked me with their offerings. There they also sent up their sweet aroma and poured out their drink offerings. When they see tree, particularly when that tree is pleasant in their eyes, they go and bow to it. They go and offer, do their offering, do their sacrifice, whatever they can sacrifice to the wood. Remember, Yahweh says they were going to worship wood and stone. Or what they were doing. Up to today, they're still doing that. Then I said to them, what is this high place to which you go? So its name is called Bama to this day. Bama, that is high place of worship. You find this, a mountain. They are going to mountain, high place. They go to hill, high place. At times they say they go to mountain. What are they going to do? Who are they worshiping there? Christians go to mountain. The Muslims go to mountain. All the religious people the religious men of this world, they go to mountain. Remember the woman of Samaritan, John chapter 4. She said they worship in mountain. They worship in hills. So that is what they find themselves. They love it. It's called Bama. Verse 30. Therefore say to the house of Israel, thus says Yahweh Shaddai, are you defiling yourselves in the manner of your fathers and committing harlotry according to their abominations? Harlotry, adultery, all those are fallen idols of the Gentiles. For when you offer your gifts and make your sons pass through the fire, you defile yourselves with all your idols, even to this day. So shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel? As I live, says Yahweh Shaddai, I will not be inquired of by you. So Yahweh says, because of all these abominations, your fathers and you has been, creating and causing and rejecting my way, because of your unfaithfulness, I will not respond to you for what you have come to seek or find out from me. Now, Yahweh is now going to tell them that they just had 7 years and 5 months. They have a long way to go. They still have a long way to go. 32. What you have in your mind shall never be. What they have in their mind shall never be. When you say, we will be like the Gentiles, like the families in other countries, serving wood and stone. That is what they are serving today. But Yahweh says, time will come when that will stop. Israel is the people of Yahweh. Up to today, they are still doing that because that is what they have in their heart. Right from Egypt, they have created that. First will benefit for the kingdom that is preparing. Our Father, we thank you, we bless you. We give you all the glory. We give you all the honor. Thank you for letting us know what has happened in the day of the fathers. What happened in the days when you chased them out from the land. And what will be happening, particularly in these latter days. Help us to look unto your word of liberty, your word of truth, your covenant commandments, your covenant way. Help us to tie ourselves to it, our heart to it, to obey you, to do your will. Help us to keep to your name. Your name is number one, is the beginning of our faith. Help us to hold to your name. Help us, Father, to trust your law, your commandments you have given to us. Help us, Father, to keep to the Sabbath, which indeed we recognize that you are our Creator, our Father, and we are your sons and daughters, your children. And indeed, that you have separated us. Indeed, that this is the seal. In Sabbath, you seal all those that belong to you. Thank you, our Father. We bless you. Keep us safe. Keep us continue moving forward in faith, trusting you, following Yeshua every day. We pray that every design of the enemy, particularly in these later days, Father, they will not catch us. They will not see us. We will not walk into them. We will not indeed indwell in their midst the Gentile idols, the Gentile gods, the Gentile laws and rules. Father, deliver us from them all. Deliver us from all that they are putting together, all their decrees, all their laws, whether it's corona laws, whether it is climate laws. Father, quash them, destroy them, remove them from your people. Save us, because our duty is to keep to your covenant commandments and to go out and preach the good news to our brothers who are scattered all over the world. And indeed, await Yeshua to come. Father, we thank you. Keep us safe, protect us, defend us, shield us. As we, Father, even prepare to be with you in the morning, continual through to tomorrow to worship you, to glorify your name as you have commanded us to keep the Sabbath. Father, we thank you, we bless you. Thank you for the Feast of Trumpet that is coming. Keep our heart to it. Keep our mind to it. Give us your word. Give us your truth. Direct us and show us what you have to do, even as we are expectant of the return of our Yeshua. Even the Feast of Trumpet is the feast of coronation of King. Father, we know that one day, Sunday, Yeshua will come and we will live with him. Thank you, Father, for letting us know this truth. Thank you for letting us know how we should prepare ourselves to hold on to your word, to hold on to your way. Glory be to your holy name for hearing us. In Yeshua's name we have prayed. Hallelujah.